All right, we are unboxing the Linksys Velop Pro 7s. Here's what we received. Looks like it's a 3-pack mesh Wi-Fi 7 system. We got tri-band Wi-Fi 7 cognitive mesh. Looks like there should be 3 nodes, and this will do daisy chain topology and star. So let's see what we have inside. Looks like we've got 2 boxes. Here's our first node. And we've got a cat cable and 3 power supplies in that box. And 2 more nodes on this box. And these have a little bit of weight compared to some of the other ones that we've seen before. They feel pretty sturdy. On the back side here, it looks like we got 4 ports and then a 2.5 gig Ethernet internet. Looks like at the bottom we've got the setup information. Little toggle on-off switch reset. All right, stay tuned for part 2 and we will configure them and set them up for our network.
Okay, back to setting this up actually. So again, we're reviewing and setting up and testing the performance of this Linksys. It's a higher end mesh router. The Velopsys 7 Wi-Fi model is MBE 7000. You get 3 of these. From what I can tell, there is no master. All 3 look like they would work. It is nice. It has the 4 different Ethernet ports, and then it has the one on the bottom that's the internet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first one. We have 3, and then we're going to test the performance, how far we can jump these across, how it works with multiple devices, including Wi-Fi cameras, peripherals, laptops, test speeds. We're going to be using a Starlink as our ISP for this, which is super fast speeds out here rural. We're testing this one just to see if we get better performance, and then kind of basing it on the Orbi. This is an older Orbi Pro. So we'll let you know. So we're going to cut away from this and we'll go to the Linksys app and show you, but we have one plugged in and we'll go from there. Okay, so now we're going to go into actually setting this up. I'm going to be recording the screen when possible. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into settings and we're going to connect to the Wi-Fi that the new router, the Linksys, is broadcasting. So I'm coming into my Wi-Fi, and there it is. You can see it at the top. It's the Velop setup E4E. I'm going to click on that one. Okay, you're gonna take the bottom of the router and you're gonna look at the password. It gives you a password on there. So I'm gonna put this password in, which we can then change. And again, it says right there underneath the name of the Velop setup, it says the password. So we've got that in, we're gonna join. And you can see you get a check mark. And that's showing that you are connected to the Wi-Fi network that it's putting out. You won't have Wi-Fi yet because now we have to let it configure. So I'm going to try the app that I have, which should just be the Linksys app right here. Okay, loading the setup experience, allow, terms and conditions. You can read through that at your own pace. Agree. Linksys would like to use Bluetooth. That's fine. We're going to hit allow. Now we're waiting for it to find that first mesh router. Connect the router to your modem or source of internet. Okay. So basically what we've done is we've connected out of your router that's bringing in your internet. You've gone from your port into the bottom of the Linksys router where it says 2.5 gigabyte internet, and it has a little yellow mark, so you know that that's the source that's going into it. Okay, it's connected. Plug additional nodes into power. So we have 2 additional nodes. We have both of those powered up. We can kind of show you, but if you can see, we have 2 of those powered up and the other one's good to go. So let's go back into our Linksys app. Next, make sure everything is finished starting up. The light will blink while starting up and turn solid. So I have solid blue on the first one that's connected to the internet and solid blue on the 2 additional nodes. Okay, checking for internet, connected. So we already have a connection. That was pretty fast, actually. So devices will automatically connect if they see the same Wi-Fi name and password, use the same Wi-Fi settings as K's Place. That's an older one, so no, we're going to create new ones. So we are going to call this test. We're going to call this Wi-Fi test Burl. Password we're going to use. We're going to just use a generic one for right now. I'm going to use password with a capital P 24. Let's see if it takes it. Okay, pledge of Linksys and your privacy and security. You can read through those at your own pace. Okay, I'm going to skip for now logging into an email because that would basically be if you had an account and you were controlling multiple Linksys devices. Create your router password. So I'm going to use the same password on this. That last one we did was actually the admin credentials to log into the router. So keep track of those as well. But on this, we're going to do the same thing. Put in your own password, and it's going to ask you for a couple extra characters. So I think we've got everything. We'll take a look. Yep. Next. So your password can't have the same character twice in a row. Okay, so we're going to use password with 1 S. Okay. It's configuring our network. One thing I've noticed with these, when we've used these Linksys in the past, the key to success is being patient. They've had really strong performance, stacked up well. Uptime's been really good, haven't ran into any issues, and we've put them in some big, large residences and had really good results with fast speeds. But what you have to do is when you plug it in and you're connecting it, you have to give it a little bit of time. It's not going to go right away. At least it hasn't on the older models with the Wi-Fi 6 and the 5. So I can see that my first node has turned white, which is already, I think, a good sign. The subsequent nodes are still blue. So now it is looking for the child nodes. And like I said, your first node should be white. If it isn't white, you would probably want to repeat these steps and start again from the very first step, potentially even rebooting your router, right? So you reboot it, plug it in, make sure again that the Ethernet is going into the bottom port, the yellow port. That's the source of where the internet's coming in from your router, whatever the router is. If you are working with a Starlink, hopefully you have, and it's a Starlink version 2, hopefully you have an Ethernet adapter because you'll need that. If it's the generation 3, it'll automatically have Ethernet ports, 2 of them. And so again, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on my other 2 nodes. Those are both showing solid blue. And again, it tells you it could take from 4 to 6 minutes. I'll let you know as soon as I see if one of them goes white. Or okay, one of them is flashing white. The third node that we're adding is still a solid blue, but the second one is flashing, the second child node is flashing a white, which appears to be a good sign. And I'm going to probably keep an eye on this to see when it goes solid white. Once we get these up, what we're going to do is we have a Wi-Fi survey tool that we use for when we do our Wi-Fi surveys and look at potential architecture and Wi-Fi design in a new building, or if we're running into interference, it'll help us tell what's going on throughout an existing building. So we'll run that tool as well and compare it to before and after. Now the second node is going white as well. So we have node 2 and 3, child nodes, both flashing white. We put these all in the same room to start out. Then what we're going to do, and you can see on my network, I have a router, child node 1, child node 2. Again, child node 2 never went solid white. It's flashing white along with child node 3. We put them all in the same room, then we're going to spread them apart. As we've worked with these, I think that's a good system. If you're too far apart, it's going to be hard for them to connect, and you'll probably have to do this multiple times. So I'd recommend keeping them somewhere in the same vicinity upon the first setup. We're hitting next on both of these. Okay, go ahead and move your child nodes is what it's saying. I can tell you that my second node is solid white. My third node is still flashing white. Once it gets done, I'm going to hit finish, but I'm going to let them all work their way through before I start moving the nodes further apart. But again, child node 2 is completely solid white. It's connected. Child node 1, the main node number 1 is completely connected and solid. So we're just waiting on the third one to give us a solid white. And I just got solid white. So I have all three of these paired then, which is great. I'm going to hit finish. I believe inside the app itself too, we can take a look, right? We got the dashboard here. So all in all, that was pretty quick. I think it only took about 10 minutes to set this whole thing up. And then we'll probably shoot another video to talk about some of the other capability, but you can see we have one device, 3 nodes, okay? New firmware available, right? So that's definitely something. We're going to go ahead and update that. That's an important one because that is releasing any of the hardware updates for the routers that have to do with performance, security. You definitely want to be updating your firmware whenever there's a new update. So we'll hit update. You can see the update right there. It's automatic through the app, which is nice, so we're not downloading a file and uploading it. I'm going to hit update now. You can use your Wi-Fi during this update. So that's good. So we'll let this update. We'll see how long it takes so you know what to expect. It's moving pretty fast. And typically, I recommend trying to do this update when you're not trying to do something important or you're not in the middle of like a download or an upload. It says that you can use the Wi-Fi during this update, but I have found that that's typically not a good plan. So, yep. So now we're sitting here looking at these two. Okay, node number 2 is flashing. Our main node is still white. So potentially it's just working its way through. Child node number 2 is solid again. Okay, now it's telling us it's going to restart. Hence kind of why I said if you're doing something important, you probably don't want to be doing it while you're pushing a firmware update. So we're going to restart all 3 of the mesh devices. The router, the first one, that's the main one, and the 2 child nodes. Okay, so I saw the main one go blue. It's restarting. It's going to reconnect to the Starlink. Okay, it's recommended to allow local network access, right? So we can do this really quick. Local network so that we can, let's go to settings. Okay, local network's already on. So we should be good. Let's go back to our Linksys. So if yours wasn't toggled on, you could toggle it on. Again, I'm on an iPhone. And it's still blue on the main one, so it's restarting. That one should go white. Then all the firmware should be updated. All 3 of my nodes are solid blue right now, which shows that they're all disconnected, which is normal. Okay, the main one from the router now has turned solid white. So that's good. Then I look at the subsequent child nodes. They're still blue. So then they'll be the next ones to pair and be solid white. And then we'll run a speed test and we'll see where we're at. So it's restarting my Wi-Fi. We'll see if my phone automatically goes back to the network that's broadcasting out. Right now, it isn't. Right now, if you look at the top right corner, I'm up on 5G. I'm actually not on Wi-Fi. But I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to let the other 2 routers hopefully, or the other 2, not routers, the other 2 child nodes, mesh nodes, I'm going to hopefully see those go white. Okay? So one of them has gone white. The second child node's gone white too. They're both solid, as is the main one that's acting as the router. So now all 3 of them look that way. So we'll let this go through and make sure that it says restarting. We'll make sure that it flips across, or we can go in there and reconnect to it if we need to. And it says on this that future updates will happen overnight automatically and only take a few minutes. There we go. It automatically reconnected. So Now it's saying it has no internet connection, so let's see. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll continue without internet. I'm looking at my nodes. You can see all of them. The router, child node 1, child node 2. Okay? Let's go into our settings really quick and let's look. So we're still connected. And then let's see. Let's do a speed test. In fact, what I'm going to do though really quick is I'm going to disconnect. Okay? Then I'm going to reconnect. If you get this. Okay? So remembered it. We're still reconnected. Let's do a quick speed test and see if it's true that I don't have internet. Okay, I have internet. So I have pretty fast internet. It's stabilizing right now. Again, with a Starlink is pretty smart. We're running a couple different versions off of this Starlink. The Ethernet adapter goes into a switch, and then when the switch is going into our different methods. Our speed should normalize and get a little bit higher than 90 right now. Typically, a Starlink is smart enough to like actually adjust bandwidth and other features based on information it's receiving. We are connected, so that's our speed test. We'll do one more speed test. We'll shoot another video. You can already see speeds are kind of a little bit higher. We'll shoot another video, though, that shows walking through and comparing the Wi-Fi channels and any issues that we see with our software, and we'll put that at the end. The next step, though, is going to be moving those child nodes. We're going to put them pretty far apart, and then we'll see how far apart we can go. I think on the box it says 9,000 square feet, but we're going to see if this would be good to jump across. We have a little Quonset outside. You might have a garage, but we're going to put it to the test. Thanks.